Dale Earnhardt Jr. just gave his verdict on something NASCAR has quietly changed, and it is not what most fans expected to hear from him. It is not a crash rule. It is not a penalty. It is not a bad call from the tower. It is one small part of every single race, something so simple that most people stopped complaining about it years ago, because that was the rule, and nobody thought it would ever change. Well, it just changed, and it all starts this coming weekend. Dale Jr. has spent his whole life around this sport. He drove the cars. He owns them now. He calls the races on television, so when he speaks, the garage listens. And he did not hold back. What he said tells you where NASCAR is heading, and what the sport still has not fixed. Let us start at the beginning. Go back to the Brickyard 400 at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. That race had 5 caution periods, 5 yellow flags, and those 5 cautions ate up 27 laps. That is 27 laps where nobody was racing. 27 laps where the field just rode around behind the pace car while the crews cleaned up the track. Now, some cautions cannot be helped. Cars crash. Parts break. Fluid goes down on the racing surface. That is racing. But one of those cautions at Indianapolis was different. And that one caution turned into the biggest talking point of the whole weekend. Here is what happened, and here is why fans were so upset. Under the old rule, every stage ended with a caution flag. Every single time. It did not matter what had happened one lap earlier. It did not matter if the track was already yellow. When the stage ended, NASCAR threw the caution. That was written into the rulebook. So, think about what that means. Say a car spins with 4 laps left in a stage. NASCAR throws the yellow. The safety trucks come out. The field slows down. The crews clean up the mess. Then the track goes back to green. The cars take the green flag. They race for 1 lap, maybe 2. Then the stage ends. And NASCAR has to throw another caution because the rule says so. 2 yellow flags, back to back, with almost no racing in between. That is exactly the kind of thing that makes people reach for the remote. You wait through 1 caution, you finally get green flag racing again, and about 90 seconds later you are right back under yellow. The race stops twice for what could have been 1 single break. NASCAR heard about it. Loudly. So the rule is now different. Under the new rule, if a caution comes out inside 10 laps of a stage break, that caution becomes the end of the stage. NASCAR does not wait. NASCAR does not restart the field for 1 or 2 laps and then throw another yellow. The yellow that is already out becomes the stage-ending caution. 1 break instead of 2. The new rule starts at the very next race weekend, at Iowa Speedway. That brings us to Dale Jr., speaking on a recent episode of Dirty Mo Overdrive. Dale Earnhardt Jr. walked through the change and gave it his full approval. Here is how he explained it. If a caution comes out inside the last 10 laps of a stage break, that will be the end of the stage. NASCAR will throw the flag to end the stage and start the protocol of the stage break itself and the process of pitting the cars and getting us back to green flag. This should really help move things along. That last line is the important one. Move things along. That is really what this whole change is about. It is about keeping the race moving. And Dale Jr. did not stop there. He explained why this problem shows up so often, and it comes down to how drivers behave at the end of a stage. Think about it. Stage points are real points. They count. Drivers race hard for them. Crew chiefs make calls for them. Playoff spots have been won and lost over a handful of stage points. So when the laps start winding down inside a stage, everybody pushes. Everybody takes a little more risk. Everybody dives a little deeper into the corner. And when everybody does that at the same time, cars get into each other. That is exactly what Dale Jr. pointed out. This is a great move for NASCAR because we know at the end of these stages, the intensity ramps up, potential for trouble, for cautions, for wrecks, whatever, all that stuff kind of ramps up. And we often do find ourselves in these situations where a caution comes out with 4 or 5 laps to go in a stage. So this will be a great move embraced by fans and everyone else in the industry. Read that last part again. Embraced by fans and everyone else in the industry. That is a strong statement. Dale Jr. is not just saying the rule is fine. He is saying the entire garage is going to like it. Drivers, teams, broadcasters, and the people in the stands. And he has a point. Nobody was defending the old way. Nobody was arguing that 2 cautions in a row made the show better. It was just a rule that had been sitting there for years, and everyone worked around it. But here is the part that most people are going to miss. Dale Jr. made it very clear that NASCAR is not finished. This rule fixes one problem. It does not fix the bigger one, and he said so directly. They are still working on how they can shorten up standard traditional cautions, so we're not done. And I'm sure there's going to be some things that have come in the many months down the road leading into next season where we'll get better at trying to speed up that process. So what is he really saying there? He is saying the length of a normal caution is still too long. Go back to that Brickyard number, 27 laps under yellow. This new rule would not have erased all of that. It would have cut out the duplicate stage caution, and that is a real improvement. But the standard cautions themselves are still slow. That is the next thing on the list. And Dale Jr. is telling you that it will not be a quick fix. He talked about many months down the road, leading into next season. So do not expect that change tomorrow. There is one more detail worth pointing out. Look at the number NASCAR picked, 10 laps. That is not a tiny window. At a short track, 10 laps can go by in under 3 minutes. So this rule is going to come into play far more often than people expect. This is not a rare situation. This is a regular part of almost every race weekend. Now let us talk about what this actually looks like on race day. The trade-off is simple. Under this new rule, you might see the stage break caution come out a few laps earlier than it used to. So in that one moment, you could get slightly more laps under yellow, but you get fewer separate caution periods. And that is the whole point. Fewer stops, fewer restarts stacked on top of each other. Fewer times when the race gets going and then immediately shuts back down. For the fan watching at home, the race should simply flow better. There is also a strategy piece here that nobody is talking about yet. Crew chiefs now have a new window to think about. 10 laps. If a caution falls inside that window, the stage is over right then. That changes fuel calls. That changes tire calls. That changes when a team decides to gamble and stay out. Under the old rule, a team could see a late caution, take fresh tires, and know there was still a mandatory stage caution coming right behind it. That second break was a safety net. Now that safety net is gone. So watch the pit boxes closely at Iowa Speedway. Watch how each team handles a yellow flag with 8 or 9 laps left to run in a stage. Some of them will get it right. Some of them will get burned. Then look at the running order once the race goes back to green. That is where you will see who guessed correctly. Iowa Speedway is the first test. A short track, a hot surface, tires that fall off, cars running close together. If this new rule is going to show its real value anywhere on the schedule, it is going to show it right there. And if Dale Earnhardt Jr. is right about all of this, then this is one rule change that nobody in the sport is going to argue about.